Okay, so security class, Kali Linux. We got issues with the typing and slowness, and it appears that it is Kali Linux. Caused
That's because we're remoting in, isn't it?
big issue. Well, it's because Kali Linux is not a Windows Hyper-V. You know, if you're right on the screen, it tracks the mouse and everything a little bit better, but I guess something being remoted in and it being not a Windows virtual machine, it's having some issues. Kali's not a supported distro. Microsoft supports some others like CentOS, and so I think that may be some of the issue. I did find a little bit to maybe fix the duplication of characters. So if you can get logged in with root and pass 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll show you some settings here that we can change. One of them would be the mouse, to make the mouse faster. So if you can see on my screen, I logged into Kali and I clicked the little start menu thingy, the dragon, Chinese dragon symbol up there at the top. Went down to settings, and we have several different settings. One of them being mouse and touchpad, little green circle there with the mouse in it. So if you open that one up, you can change your acceleration, and I don't know why mine jumped back to over. So that's sped up. Is there a way to save this?
That's rough.
What is distance here? Yeah, it should be device, should be.
What are you trying to do? Speed up the mouse so it's like what our mouse would be on a real computer?
Yes.
Sensitivity.
I think sensitivity should go down. But I don't know that it saved that. Let me go look again. Doesn't seem like that's saving. Yeah, jump straight back. So why is that mouse not saving? For the keyboard, it seems to work. If you go down to keyboard, you can set the repeat speed down to 1. And you can drag it from around 500 up to around 800 on the repeat delay. And that seems to have fixed the typing issue. So that's saving, but the mouse is not saving.
Okay, on keyboard. Wait, the repeat delay. What do you want that at? 750? 799?
Yeah, somewhere around 700, 800, something like that.
Yeah, it's like playing a video game where your settings aren't right. You can hit the mouse to click on anything.
Yeah. So the mouse may not, looking on the editor, it may not have that capability. That's kind of weird. The keyboard, I think, works though, because then you should be able to type without it repeating. And that's a big thing. I wish the mouse would speed up though. So yeah, if you can get that keyboard to, let me go back and look the settings again. That one slider, I went all the way down to 1 or something like that. So I went to settings, keyboard, and there's my keyboard. The repeat speed was down to 1, and the repeat delay, I bumped it up to like close to 800.
Yeah, that mouse is just rough.
Yep. Once you got the keyboard, try to open up a terminal window if you can get your mouse on it. Let me make sure this thing is sharing with optimized. I'm sure that's going to be recorded. I don't know. The first few minutes of this YouTube thing may not be very clear, so I made sure that this here is recorded clear now. Yay, Lucas and Joe are both Lucas. First, last.
Hello. I just got back from work. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So what we've found is it seems like it is Kali that's causing the slowdown and not really remote PC. And what we've done, we've logged into Kali Linux, hadn't figured out a way to speed the mouse up, but we found a way to stop the keyboard from typing weird. We think we have anyway. So when we logged in, go to the little start menu, settings, and keyboard. And we adjusted the repeat speed down to 1. And we adjusted the repeat delay over to around 800 on that slider. And that should make it easier to type at the command prompts. But I don't see, the mouse doesn't appear to have a setting that can change. It's got sliders, but they won't take any input. So the mouse is just slow. We're moving on to install that Zap Proxy I was talking about. So an apt space update would need to be entered at the command prompt. And then that should, update the app store with all the new latest software that's available. And then we need to install that Zap Proxy, which would be an apt space install ZA Proxy. So I've noticed I'm not getting repeating characters with the keyboard set. So I've already downloaded and installed this one, but you'd go ahead and hit enter and it should ask a yes or no question. Do you want to install it or not? And you just hit yes at the end. I believe it asks yes or no. It may just install. I'm not sure the default on apt. I know Yum would ask you yes or no. Out over Red Hat style distro, but I can't remember if Kali just went ahead and installed or if it asked me yes or no. I think it did ask me yes or no.
I didn't ask anyone. Just did it.
Okay, went through the progress bar and installed.
Yeah. Joe, what up, Joe?
Yo.
Did you get that MLS switch going? I can't ping, bro.
One thing with that repeat delay being real slow, I just have to hit the backspace key a whole lot. I can't just hold it down. But I'll deal with that. You'll need to probably reset your badge store. Yeah, the mouse moves quite a bit better. You'll need to go in your badge store and hit your up arrow key, most likely, and put your ifconfig ether0, re-enter that. It seems like after 24 hours or so, it resets the IP address in badge store.
Wait. Where did you go to virtual machine connection bats?
Yep. Yeah, connected into bad store and just hit my up arrow key until it brought back that command there. It's shown at the bottom of my bad store. And you can see from Tuesday at the top of the screen where I had to do the same thing. I had to hit that ifconfig ether0 command. It seems like I said after, I don't know if it's 24 hours or so long, it reverts its back to a DHCP address. So I just hit my up arrow key, hit enter to to enter in that IP. And that will let us use Zap Proxy. All a bit very slow with the mouse going on. If it gets too bad, I got another subject to talk about. They're implementing pretty good proper security mechanisms on campus. We've got a really good chief information officer. It's keeping up with everything. And I'll cover some new security that's going to be implemented to keep up with the times. Okay,
Hold on. What am I resetting? Bad security or bad store or?
The IP address, you're just hitting the up arrow key, and when it gets that if config ether 0, you're just hitting enter on that command again. Yeah, if you hit like, okay, cool. Okay, so from the command line, where's my mouse again? There we go. There's my mouse. I got a little, if this window is covered by anything, it blocks it out. There we go. So yeah, here's a question. If I put a window over the window, does it put a big block over the screen? Or can you still see everything?
Nah, it's just a small little like words. It just tells you what it is.
Okay, so I'll move that back over. So once you get apt update ran and apt install ZA proxy, then you just run ZA proxy. So it was not installed by default, is why we couldn't find it on Tuesday. Previous versions had it automatically installed. So the new January installer just, I don't know, they did not include it. I heard a blip sound.
Nah,
All right, when we get it installed, is it gonna be is there gonna be like a radio button to find it, or do we just type it in to run it?
I haven't even looked.
Okay. I got mine installed now. So.
Good question. Let me see. It would probably be under web application analysis if it did put a icon. And Yeah, it put it OWASP Zap under application analysis. I wonder if it also put it under here. Nope. So it put it as a little lightning bolt. If you forget in the future, but okay, so when it first comes up, it's going to ask you, do you want to persist the Zap session? Meaning if you do an attack, do you want it to be, all the information be kept and stored in a database? Or do you want it to just be held in RAM because you're just playing around and experimenting, you're not going to go back later and look at it. So for our purposes, we're not doing any type of forensics investigation or any type of analysis that we're going to give to a customer about the security of their web application. So leaving it here at the default no. I do not want to persist this session at this moment in time is okay. And we can go and click on start. My mouse just jumped completely off my screen. Huh. I'm getting there. Okay, there we go. Start.
If you go to the side of your computer where it's off that screen, kind of match up and then quickly go over to it, you can catch it. It'll catch it and then the mouse will slowly go there.
Okay. Okay, so we come up to this screen and there's a lot of stuff you can do with this proxy. We're going to do pretty simple. We're going to do a manual explore. And this here could actually go ahead and attack a site within the program, but we're going to do a manual live explore through a browser. So when I click manual explore, this is why I really like this one. So the manual explorer allows us to put in a URL. This is almost like the burp suite we looked at Tuesday, but notice at the bottom, it's launch browser. So it automatically sets up the proxy like I was expecting and launches a web browser.
I don't see that on my screen.
Let me switch over, see what you're looking at.
Are you on Untitled
Okay.
session?
That, yeah, you just.
I got it.
Yeah, that one thing popped up was just saying, hey, this stuff's installed or something. So now you see the manual in the middle. I think it's green. Yeah, it's a green icon. Yeah, Joe just closed down that big long list of junk that came up. A little X in the top right of that window. Yep, and now you can click on that manual green icon. So this manual explorer is pretty neat. We can put in an address here and we can launch a web browser to attack with, and we can choose what browser. We've got Firefox installed into Kali, but it also, you can, if you had Chrome, you could select it too. I don't think Chrome is installed, so I'm going to leave it default on Firefox. So I can add in here the www.badstore.net.
Bless you.
Thank you. Try to turn away from the microphone so it wouldn't blow your eardrums out. So yeah, so we got the URL here. The enable heads up display is checked. So the only thing I did was just type the URL there at the end, and I'm going to launch the Firefox browser. So if you ever do become a security expert in the world, there's programs like this, commercial ones and stuff that you can use to analyze applications that have been developed if you get that far down. So notice as we load up, we can take a tutorial or we can just continue to the target. Let's just continue to the target. So it shows the web page, and we have some new icons to the left and to the right and to the bottom of the web page that allows us to basically attack the site or view for warnings and stuff. And you got little flags that pin off if it found possible issues. We can start different type of like a Google style spider of the site. I mean, it'll Google scans the internet constantly, so this tool's got what they call a spider tool. It tries to look at all the pages and index everything that's at the site. But I was wanting to show you about adding an account, because you're wanting to probably create an administrator account like I did, except my method, or this method, will be much easier than what we did. So I'm going to click the login register link at badstore.net. And it loads up the site for logging in, or down here at the bottom, registering for a new account. So right now I see all the same fields as we did on Tuesday. Over here on the left side though, there is a light bulb icon. It's the third one down. It says show enable. That will show any input fields that are hidden like that. So if I click on it, it now displays 2 extra fields that were coded to not be shown to the end user. And I see that there's a big capital U down there beside the register button. So isn't that neat? I don't have to go edit the code and find that hidden form field and save it as a
doesn't do that.
HTML file and make sure the badstore.net is coded in front of all the relative links in there. I can just load the page up through this proxy and tell it to reveal stuff to the screen. So now it's really easy. You can put in any type of name, email address, and password, and you can now modify the hidden field right here to a capital A, and that creates your administrative account into the system. So what do you think about them apples? That's a lot easier, I would think. In my opinion, that's a lot easier.
So you can use this program to go into a website, obviously to register in an easier way, and then to do other stuff too, obviously. But this is to open up like the website's, I don't know, internal coding type thing.
Yeah, it shows, this is purposely, most sites aren't going to be coded bad like this, but this proxy is intercepting everything that's going back and forth. So you can set this thing up to capture, things before it gets sent to back to the server. There was one site, it's been a long time ago, it's in 2005 timeframe, that they were in a hacking class, and they used, I believe it was Zap Proxy, Burp Suite or Zap Proxy, something real similar to this, and they ordered a flower arrangement, and before that, when you clicked add to cart, it showed the site was going to actually send the price of the flower back to the central server, and we were able to change the price. And when it put it into cart, it showed the lower price that we changed it to. Just moved the decimal place over. Instead of being $29.50 for the flowers, it was $2.95 as it showed up in the cart. Of course, we didn't finish out and check out. That would be illegal.
Right. That's easy to catch, though, isn't it? I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
Everything for a penny.
Most things are fixed where that's not going to be allowed now. I mean, that exploit's been known for, that's more than a decade. And even back then, 2005, that was really well known. That site was one of the few on the internet that was still known to have that exploit. But most sites, even back then, had that issue fixed. So yeah, if you wanted to create an administrator account, you can go ahead and create the administrator account. I'm logged in as unregistered user. I wonder if I can remember, if I can log in up here, because I created an account. I think it was black at yahoo.com. I think my password was 1, if I remember correctly. Of course, you can create whatever account you want, but I just use Black Hat as a example. Yep, that's the account that I had created. These warnings here on the left and right, you can look at them to see what type of alerts. Something about a header is not set. And let's see if there's any alerts on this side. Same thing. I think that's mostly alerting that it's finding information about the URL. They didn't use coding practices to hide the URL information. So did y'all get an account created with admin rights?
I missed how you showed that.
Missed what?
I missed how you showed how to get in with this for the admin rights thing because I was trying to get it actually logged into.
Let me look at your screen, see where you're at here. Okay, so you had to scroll down. I think that site looks. Yeah, over on your I don't see a password field. Oh, you're under my account. Click login register. If you can get the mouse to work.
It's almost there.
Yeah.
It's trying real hard not to go too bad. There we go.
So it's on that page there. So over on the left side there, there's a little light bulb with the tube beside it. That's what we clicked on. And that revealed all the hidden form fields. And then we scrolled down in the middle of the page and created our account. Probably if you can get clicked into the first name field there, you can start typing in and use your tab key. That way you don't have to deal with the mouse. You can use shift tab once you get it clicked in somewhere.
Yeah, I got it in the email.
You should be able to shift tab and get up to the full name field.
Oh, I shift tab too many times.
Yeah. One more tab. Yep.
There we go.
And then whatever. My name.
My name.
Yep. That works. And you got to put an email address in there. That's your login. And a password. I used the number 1 for mine. It's real secure.
Sounds good.
And then if you tab, you'll notice, well, you go to the drop down when you hit your tab and tab one more time. So I think your WebSockets thing is hiding the bottom. There's a little down arrow to the right.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah. Yep, that's what was hiding. So that U down there.
Oh, yeah, that's what we need to change it to A.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry about the remote. It's something with Kali and the way that it's being rendered through the remote desktop. Yep, and you tabbed over to register and just hit enter, and it will auto have you logged in as an admin.
Nice.
I doubt you'll find any sites like that. There may be some still in the wild. But that's really bad coding technique. If you hide something that should be server side only like that, if you're encoding everything in the front end application, that's bad coding. People used to code like that. Nobody knew about hackers and that people would be bad on the internet. So definitely some stuff that, but the reason this is here and Bad Store is created so you can this is stuff you can look for if you are investigating out maybe an application that you're going to purchase for the company. You do your own little investigation about it. And lots of cool stuff. Now, there's cross-site scripting vulnerability that's available. And cross-site scripting XSS, I believe is what they call it. And you've probably heard of that before, cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. If not, if you've looked at a bunch of patches and stuff for Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox and stuff, you'll see a lot of the patches are trying to fix cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. This site has a cross-site scripting vulnerability that's very possible. They don't validate things that are being put into forums. So here's a guest book. So, you might think of funeral homes and stuff like that. They all have the guest book and stuff there to sign for people that's passed away. I've not checked any of them out. I don't want to put any malicious code in something like that, but it could definitely be really similar sites like that. Any type of forum that you can post into could definitely be vulnerable to cross-site scripting vulnerability. I'm going to look up the code for badstore.net. Because I don't want to try to copy everything or to type it in there. Although the way the mouse is going, I may want to. So this looks like a walkthrough. Let's see what this site does. They do an nmap scan. Are they using Zap? Yep, they did the Zap Proxy too. Cool. They were looking at the shopping cart stuff. Here they're investigating HTML code, probably looking for that hidden field. Finding a bunch indexing stuff, finding a bunch of hidden folders. That's something Zap Proxy can do pretty well. Once you index and you're doing the MD5 copy like we did on Tuesday. That one I don't think I've ever found doing business. I don't think I've found that one before. I've spidered it pretty well. And I don't think I found procedures either. I don't know. I found some other hidden folders. I found the backup folder. So if you didn't know, Bad Store has a walkthrough. I think there's even a PDF on the badstore.net over on the left side. I think you notice how there's a reference manual. There should be a PDF that explains some of the vulnerabilities available in the system. Wireshark. This is why HTTPS, earlier in the semester, we set up the Linux machine in Azure portal, and we set it up to where we use certbot, so it's set up as HTTPS. And this picture here of Bad Store, notice where Bad Store is not HTTPS, so you could sniff it with Wireshark or any other type of tool. And here's somebody that's logged into the system, and if you captured use Wireshark to search for the stream that had the cookie information in it, or even just put up a filter and search for login or pass, something like that, it would probably find this frame, and you see the clear text from the fields when you're trying to log in. There we go. Cross-site scripting, XSS. So to explain cross-site scripting, so do you see the picture here on the page? Somebody's signing the guest book, put in an email address, they're putting in a comment, and then they're putting in an HTML tag. You see the greater than, and then it starts with script, and then it has a source, and it's going to a alternate URL and loading up a JavaScript file, and then closes out. So that would be hidden. If you go view the guest book, all you'd see was great store in the comment. You wouldn't see that your web browser would be loading a JavaScript from an alternate website. That's what cross-site scripting is. Even if you're using HTTPS and viewing Bad Store through a secure interface, cross-site scripting can still cause issues because somebody can embed into your web browser in the background, go download some type of malicious code while you're on a trusted website. So you've logged in HTTPS, hey, you trust this site. It's even signed by VeriSign. You're looking at a guest book or a form or anything that somebody else, some hacker is able to hack, and they've embedded hidden code in their message, in your web browser's trick to access the unsecure site and download malicious code. That's cross-site scripting. Somebody else has a better example of cross-site scripting that we can just copy and paste into it. We can put some code in there to reveal the cookie information. It'll be revealing our cookie information, but still. That's what I was looking for right here. This is to look at your cookie information. If I can get my mouse to copy it. So this here is a script, a little bit different from that other script that we've seen. But this is an easy way to show what cross-site scripting is. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And it's going to run a JavaScript. It's going to run an alert, means it's a little dialog box pop-up window, and the contents are going to be the cookie that is being used for the current session. So that's not really much of a cross-site scripting hack. That other one that was directing to a URL that was a JavaScript file, probably had hundreds of lines of code, maybe to steal information, your username, password. They could run stuff, that remote JS to get the current cookie, and instead of displaying it as an alert to the screen like this is doing, it could use it to copy the information and send it to the hacker site. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so Mr. Trusty here, and everyone trusts me at gmail.com, is going to write in here, and we'll actually put some plain text. You know, my great grandpa worked here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this entry. And it loaded up. And what have I seen? I've seen my cookie information, and I could take this information and copy it out into a decoder. I believe this is in base 64 format, very similar to the line console, line BTY telnet password. If you don't put on any other type of encryption, if you just go line BTY 0 space 4 and you do password, you know, Cisco, then that's stored in a base 64 format. And you may have run a decoder or looked it out in the Cisco class. I don't know if they talk about that anymore in Cisco or not. Hopefully they make it mostly do SSH into your Cisco switches and routers. But this here could be copied out and put into a decoder and view what cookie information is being stored. And sometimes this cookie information will hold things like the shopping cart value and price. So some of these digits in here, if you had a vulnerable site, you might be able to modify your cookie and change the price of how much is in your shopping cart. So when you place your order, you're hoping that you're at a cheaper price. Again, it's not legal, don't do it, but there's possibilities of that. So that needs to be checked for, make sure that the application is coded to where that can't happen. So I'm gonna hit okay. So that was obvious on the screen that cross-site scripting was done. But like I said, a hacker normally won't put something or it'll pop up like that and alert the user, hey, this is kind of weird. They would scroll down and they would see the entry and they'd see my grandpa worked here, but they wouldn't have that cross-site scripting will not pop up like it did. It would run in the background and steal information off of your machine and you wouldn't know it. So if you've never or always heard of cross-site scripting and never knew what they were talking about, but always knew that there's constant patches every month to try to prevent it. That's what's going on. You've visited a trusted site. It looks like I'm at HTTPS. Yeah, it's got me HTTPS. Secure badstore.net. The browser trusts it. So anything that I see loading up, I'm going to trust, including this cross-site scripting I just inserted in, which is a JavaScript or any type of other scripting that could be put into the system. So to prevent that, this forum should have used some either front end and back end code validation, meaning when I submitted my comments, it should have went into a filter and search for any type of tags like script or any type of Visual Basic, any type Python, anything like that that looks like that it's not just plain text. You see weird symbols, greater thans, less thans, non-printable ASCII characters. All that stuff should be filtered, and if caught, the posting should be denied. And that's how you would try to get in and block people from putting bad code in. So, which of y'all has heard about cross-site scripting before? Nothing, nobody? Well, now you've heard about it. And hopefully that was kind of a good example or a good explanation of what it is, because all the security books I've ever seen in the past always talked about cross-site scripting, but there wasn't really a way to show it. So this bad store I thought was the best way to, here, let's actually do it. Let's show, let's embed some code in here and make it pop something on the screen so you can see, look, it did something. I put some JavaScript code in. Joe unmuted.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've never used it. I've heard of it, but I didn't really ever know what it was. I mean, I think that being able to see it gives me a better understanding of it.
And that's why I use ad blockers on all the sites, because back in 2003, I was using Internet Explorer. I went to Yahoo's main page, and one of the ads on the main page from ad.doubleclick, taken out, paid for by, I guess, an evil hacker somewhere. It actually JavaScript embedded into the ad. And I trusted Yahoo's website, but the ad infected my computer with the virus. So, So yeah, it's been a long time, but yes, I've hit a trusted site and had cross-site scripting come in through an ad. And that's what that's about. I didn't know what cross-site scripting was back then. Yeah, here's our bad store reference manual. I'm pointing at it there with my mouse. You all have that. As slow as this is, if y'all have virtualization capability at your house, you might want to run badstore.net. I think I explained that on Tuesday. You can run badstore.net and bridge it and just use your Windows machine, open up a web browser on your Windows machine and access it directly. You don't even need Kali or anything else to. You'll have to edit your Etsy host file in Windows though. It's under Windows System 32 drivers and then the etc folder. It's buried quite deep in there. But if you wanted to play around more with Bad Store, it's a good learning tool. Okay, there's some more stuff with this. But I think I want to save some of those stuff. Like we'll use some. The problem is this thing's getting so old. There's some tools to scan for database vulnerabilities, but this thing uses such an old version of my SQL server that the vulnerability scanners don't even include the stuff to scan that old of a version anymore.
How do we get the bad store? Can we just get the ISO image from the folder on the computer we're remoted into and like email it to ourselves, I guess? So that we'd have the image to run it on our virtual at home.
Yeah, do you see my screen? Utilities, file transfer.
Okay.
Bad store is a pretty small file. You can just file transfer it.
Okay.
And I think the original project that had it out there is no longer afford to run their site, but there's still other places out there that host badstore.net. But yeah, if you want to make sure you're not downloading the malicious version.
Right. That's why I was saying, could we just get it from the PC we're remoted into on campus right now?
Yes. Yeah, you should be able to go file transfer and then it should show you the remote computer where you could go into your C drive ISO folder and then
okay.
And then and then the arrow over. Well, I don't think you can see what I see.
No, it's blacked out for us.
Now you can see what I see. Open up that file transfer. You did see the menu up there, right? When utilities file transfer, it brings this up, and on the right side, you can go in and find your bad store, and then hit your arrow over. Go to a folder that you want it to be dumped into first on your side, and it'd be transferred. Wow, it's only 12 meg. Didn't realize it was that small. So a whole entire website, e-commerce website, operating system and everything, 12 megabytes. So I did want to take a pause and talk about some stuff that we're doing here on campus that I want to make sure we covered before we get the semester ending. It ends pretty quickly. And that's something we're doing, multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor authentication means typically are using, stop the phone from ringing. You typically have a username and password to log into a system, and then it asks you for something else. Now, something else could be a number that is sent to your phone via text message, or a number sent to code generation app. It could be a thumbprint, retina scan, face recognition, stuff like that would be multi-factor authentication. So I hope everybody's heard of multi-factor authentication. And you're using
The remote PC makes us use multi-factor. They text us a freaking code to get in after we've used our password.
Yes. So that's multi-factor right there with a remote PC. That's really good that we have to do that for this class. I know my Outlook Office 365 does the same thing. Any other site that allows multi-factor, I have that turned on too, so that evil people in my past don't try to break in and delete stuff, which has happened. But multi-factor, there's a problem with text messaging. That was one of the cool, easy things that everybody started doing, was using SMS text messages, which remote PC does. They've now since found issues with that. Hackers are now able to spoof the phone numbers and take over somebody's phone number temporarily. So if somebody knows the phone number that an account is being used, they can spoof the phone number, request a login or a password reset, and have them text a multi-factor authentication code, and it goes to their phone, not the original person's phone anymore. So they're running into that. I mean, that's pretty sophisticated. You've already got to know somebody's phone number and everything to get that to happen.
Yeah, when I worked for General Dynamics IT, and we were subcontracted under Raytheon for logging into Raytheon, we had a RSA ID thing that we carried around like on our keychain. That was just every so many seconds generated a new code, and that code was only for us. Yep. So when we went to log in, we would have to enter the code that our key generator we were carrying around with us had on it.
Yeah, and it updated about every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep. I've seen that's one of the big financial investment firms. They've had that decade ago or more. This little RSA key that was carried around that only linked to your account. So that's more secure, and that's what the university is moving to. I mean, right now Office 365 is using text message and stuff to authenticate with, but they're going to move over to something called Duo. You may have seen some emails about it already. I've seen some posts on Facebook about Duo and multi-factor authentication starting to warn students. So I don't know if you've seen that or not.
No, I haven't seen anything. I'll have to look again. The only other thing I've used before is Okta Verify, which was an app on my phone, and it was a random generator thing every 30 seconds as well. That was what General Dynamics IT division used for multi-factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're going to use Duo, and I don't know about the students. I know the faculty are going to be done first. So we're going to be enrolled in, and our accounts will assume going to require multi-factor just to even log into the PCs, into the domain at the university. So, and it will be app-based or fob-based, token-based, or whatever, that little RSA key token thing. So logged in, and it'll either pop up, your app will pick it up on the phone and display it to your phone screen, and you put in the extra numbers to authenticate. And that's more secure because you can't really spoof the application. That app is not based
I wonder if that app's going to be like Okta. Like we had a PIN, like we had our own 4-digit PIN, and then you also had the so you had your logon and password, then you had a 4-digit PIN that went along with what your what your code that was coming off the Okta Verify was, which was a 6-digit code. So it ended up, you had like a 10-digit code that you had to enter after username and password to get logged in.
I don't know if you're going to have to add a PIN to the random or not. I think it's just going to be username, password, and then the code that pops up.
So, yeah, I'm not sure if they did it that way, if it was, if that was just how General Dynamics IT did it, or if that's how the Okta thing worked anyway. But yeah, we had to have that PIN, and then it went along with the code, and that's how you got logged in. I guess it makes sense though. Like if I lost my phone, you can pick up my phone right now. I still have Okta Verify on my phone, and it has the email address right underneath the code generator, for my General Dynamics IT division email address. So maybe that's why they had the code, with the PIN.
Yep, that could be. That's almost a triple factor authentication there. If you had to have username, password, plus the random number, plus the PIN.
Yeah. And the PIN and the random number went together as one number.
Yep, that's extra cool there. Very, very secure. So yeah, we decided to not go with the SMS text because it's got a bad rap now. Also, face recognition, you can just show a freaking picture,
right,
to a camera thing. Thumbprints and stuff, and they'll be lifted off and put on a ballistics gel fake thumb and trick thumbprint scanners. So all the biometric stuff seems to be, they found exploits for it. So right now your multi-factor is having that app-based or file-based is currently the rage, until they can figure, hackers can figure some way around that. They figured a way around all the other stuff that they've come up with. But currently, the most secure in the last couple of years has been pushed through your application-based code generations and not relying on the telephone network. The telephone network can be spammed quite easily because you always get the phone calls from somebody in your area code and they're wanting to sell you car warranty, but they're from India.
I got one of those yesterday. It's funny because the only car we had that didn't have a warranty, we just traded in 2 nights ago. And yesterday I got a phone call about car warranty, and I still have Hawaii area code. So I get them. They come from Hawaii when I get those phone calls. It's hilarious.
Yep, that's all spoofing. And then if you try to call the number back, it's some old lady or something, or like, I didn't make any call to you.
Right.
I've got people call me and go, hey, I'm returning your phone call. Like, I never called you. I didn't use my phone today, so it's probably a spoof spam call. They're probably trying to sell you car warranty.
Yeah. I get calls from Hawaii too that, hey, bro, did you call me? I'm like, no.
Yep. So we're going to move into that where faculty is going to be the first part of May, right after finals or so. They're going to start enrolling faculty with that. And I'd note that, like, yeah, bring your own, you can put it on your phone. Well, I went to look and put it on my phone. It says my phone's too old. So I had to request a key fob, little digital readout. And then I emailed and warned them. It's like, well, you can't tell. You might want to alert people that you have to have a modern phone for it to work. I didn't see any new notes out. They probably just figured it, which is probably pretty common. I'm probably in the extreme minority having a really old smartphone because everybody else I see is running around with new stuff.
Speaking of that, were you still looking for one? Because my daughter just got a 10. She had an 8, but it had a bad battery in it. I don't know if you were interested. I told her I might have somebody that was looking for one, but I thought you were looking for like a 7 or something.
Oh, was it an 8 plus? or just a regular?
I'm not sure if it's the big one or not. I don't remember.
How much was she wanting for it?
I'll have to ask her. I don't even know if she kept it, but it's been about a month now since she got her new phone. So
Okay, yeah, I'm looking for like an 8.
okay, I'll ask her.
Higher. I would like to have an 8 plus, but just for my old eyes getting
Okay, and I'll ask my son too because I know he had a plus, but I don't know what his was. If it was a 7 or an 8, because he got a 10 and my daughter got an 11, so they may still have their old phones.
Okay.
And they're habit. So.
Yep. Yeah, I was still glancing around, not with the summer coming on. This not knowing about the economy, I've slowed up looking real heavily. But yeah, if one comes along, I'll definitely consider. Well, we got.
I'll check with them when I talk to them and see if they still have them or not and what versions they were.
We got to 12:20, so we come to the end of class, and I think I covered our multi-factor. And I was wondering about the students, how they're going to do the students. Are they going to have a fob for all the students to keep up with? Are they going to let the students use their phones? I guess the ones, I don't know what an expense. It's like $10 for the little fobs. So that's a thought, is what student population would need those fobs if it's required to log in, and then for them to keep up with it.
Right.
Because I think you have to have an iPhone 6 or higher. I'm not sure what version Android. I know it's iOS 11. So whatever version hardware runs iOS 11, of course, every year or two they up that. So next year they may up it to iOS 12, which may be, I don't know. You just have to watch Apple. They expire their stuff ever so often. All righty, well, I think it's time to close up shop. Of course, y'all can continue playing with the Zap Proxy.
Yeah, are you going to do classes like this next week as well, or?
Yes, I'll probably do. I'm thinking next week is.
I'm just asking because I know I'm scheduled for Tuesday and Thursday next week, so. I think they have me like 40 freaking hours next week. It's crazy. I told them, I'm like, I got to study for finals and stuff. Y'all are killing me.
Mm-hmm. So the final in here, I said, you'll probably do it at your home computer, not remote in, because of speed wise. Anyway, so we'll try to meet. I think we're on the 7th. We'll do a Zoom session, and I'll be in the Zoom session to see if everybody get in and do the final. And if you have to do it outside of class time, then we can work on that too. But hopefully we can do because I have to schedule it and test out and have a window for you to take it or be able to log in and take it and test out.
Right.
So if we have to do it out, I know everybody's got different work schedule. We can work something out, but hopefully.
Yeah, I think Miss Neesmith has the Linux final on that Thursday as well. That's this Thursday, right? The 7th?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she scheduled her final that day as well. I don't remember the time on it though.
Yep. I know that there's just some days that we don't really need to meet. Normally at the end of the semester, we didn't do anything in class anyway. It was just like, you need to focus on these, just sit and do these, test out Server Pro. So the 30th and the 5th, I don't think we'll do a Zoom. We'll probably do a Zoom session on Tuesday just to touch base with everybody again. And the next Zoom session will be on the final on the 7th.
Yeah, I think I work 10 to 6 next Thursday, so I'll just have to watch the video if you make one, I guess.
Yep. So Callie's pretty well. Let me see. When's our presentation? Because I think I said you all just put in a PowerPoint.
Right.
I'm trying to think when we made that presentation due. When was the due date on that? So I may change my mind here. Due on April 30th.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. You got it on the 30th.
Why don't we do the Zoom on the 30th and this Tuesday? Y'all can use that day for practice. And then the following Tuesday, you can use that whole day for practice. So why don't we make our next Zoom let's go ahead and fix that for everybody. So for LAN, I got Monday for LAN is our next Zoom on it, because I wanted everybody to struggle on the PowerShell that haven't got it turned in yet. And then on Monday, we're going to review the second part. We'll probably also look at different ways anybody else had done the second part of that PowerShell Lab 3. Okay, so Tuesday, we're going to do no Zoom study Security Pro. We'll do presentations for those that want to like share their screen on Thursday, since it's due that day. Of course, if you got work that day, Joe, that's fine. You can just turn in a PowerPoint on it.
Okay, yeah, I work 6 to 1 or 2, so that's our truck day is Thursdays, and since I'm not having to go to college, they put me back on the truck just because I do better than the one guy who can't like lift and throw as much feed, I guess, so they like me on the truck.
Yeah. So that's going to be Thursday presentations, and then Tuesday we won't do a Zoom. Y'all need to do that Security Pro. You should be working on that now too. You need much on that as possible. And then on week 16, we'll Zoom no Zoom study for final on a Tuesday. That's the 5th. I think it is Thursday, May 7th, 11 to 1 p.m. Not 11. Zoom for final. So it'll be on the 7th is our final. So it'll only be on Zoom if you have technical questions. About the only thing that really happens is sometimes the test out will lock up and you have to close your browser, log back in, start the test again, and it loads up the last question that you finished. So I've seen that happen before. In the middle of test, it would freeze. So that's our schedule. Oh, any other questions?
No, I think I'm good.